Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub, the CFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL, my Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL, the Indoor Football League, although I need to go back and do my homework after this weekend's games. It was a crazy week of games. The NAL, the National Arena League, once again a crazy week of games, and the ELF, the European League of Football. Today will be a short show. Still starring me, Aaron Sauter, and Timmy the Trash Talking Tiger Shark. There's just a few notes to go over from the NFL, CFL, and UFL today. Some things are happening out there. It's too important to not cover, but not that plentiful of information. Tomorrow I will go over my predictions for the IFL, NAL, and see where else we go down the football rabbit hole. But this will be a short show. Yes, this will be a short show, Timmy. We're going to go through just a few NFL notes. Let's go Bengals, maybe. And then we'll go with some UFL notes. Let's go Brahmas. Okay. And then some CFL notes. Let's go Tiger Cats. Okay, good call, Timmy. Way to touch on our teams there. So first, the NFL. The New York Giants have signed former Eagles wide receiver Zach Pascal. Okay. They have signed him, adding him to their roster, their circus of New York Giants activities with Jameis Winston now at quarterback. We'll see what happens there. She also notes rumors saying that the Giants are looking at Shedeur Sanders as a definite first-round pick in the draft. Why would they say that? Well, they could be trying to make moves to get him. Theoretically, I've been told the Cleveland Browns may select Shedeur Sanders, but the New York Giants are number 2 on the NFL draft. But the Giants could jump over them and trade with the Tennessee Titans for their pick. And I don't know what the Tennessee Titans are planning to do. I'm not sure if Tennessee Titans know what they're planning to do, okay? Same way the Giants. They don't really have a plan. So we'll see if they make a move. Anything can happen, okay? When you get to less organized football, anything can happen. Which is why things have not gone well for me in the IFL or NAL this week, okay? The lower you get, the less predictable things are, which makes them really fun leagues. You know, the Giants are probably the most fun team in the NFL. You never know what they're going to do. They might just kick the ball down the field and let the other team score. Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Micah Parsons. He's trying to put the word out there. The Cowboys are not signing him. They're not giving him an extension. But he's putting the word out there. He talked to his brother last week, Terrence Parsons, saying, hey, I'd like a 5 years, $205 million. That would be great. Today, he put out a statement, not officially, that if he got $40 million per year, for whatever the contract is, $40 million per year matching Myles Garrett in Cleveland, he would be the happiest man alive. He wants to stay with Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys need to make a move. Why are they not going to make a move? Because they made a move with DeMarcus Lawrence and they got burned. So now they're like one of these teenagers, you know, who go out there and have a relationship and then they get broken up and then they're hurt. And the Cowboys are hurt, you know, they're hurt. They don't want to get burned by another defensive end, edge rusher, whatever you want to call them, okay. But Micah Parsons is wanting Myles Garrett money, okay. He just says if he gets that, just $40 million per year, I'll be happy. Just $40 million per year. Sure, I'll take $40 million per year. Boom. Cleveland Browns sign linebacker Jerome Baker. Okay. Also, here's a NFL theory that's bouncing around out there in the what do you want to call it? The web space, I guess. I don't know. But here's the thing I thought was interesting. Craig Carter from Fox Sports said the 49ers should trade Brock Purdy, okay, to the New York Giants for their 3rd overall pick, giving the Giants a quarterback. And then that should free them up to pick in their draft picks. John Lynch, the GM of the San Francisco 49ers, says they're letting these guys go from their roster to create space to make moves in the draft. So that would make sense. You know, what would be crazy is if they sign Brock Purdy for the rumored $55 to $60 million a year. And then the Giants trade for him. And he's gonna stink. He's only been good when he's loaded with weapons. He's gonna go to the Giants. It's gonna be atrocious. And that would allow the 49ers to deep six the Giants salary cap as well. They could maybe never recover from that. That's crazy. Otherwise, they might deep six themselves and give themselves $55 million, $6 million to Brock Purdy, knowing he's not all that. Okay? All right. Okay, in addition to that, so they're saying, hey, 49ers, you can trade Brock Purdy to the Giants for their third pick, and you can sign Aaron Rodgers as a bridge quarterback. You can bring him in, and you can pay him less than $55 and $60 million to save your salary cap. Maybe pay him $40 million. Okay, that's way too much for Aaron Rodgers, but I can see that being the case. And then use him as a bridge quarterback to someone that they draft at the third pick. Who would it have to be? Probably Jackson Dart. It looks like Cam Ward's going to go first. Shadur Sanders is going to go second. So they pick Jackson Dart. I would not pick a quarterback in this draft. It seems like a bad call, but that's what they would need in that situation. So someone threw that out there. Somebody from Fox Sports. Cool, man. All right. Carolina Panthers. They have signed safety and special teams star Nick Scott to a one-year contract. The Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers are the favorites to sign LA Chargers running back J.K. Dobbins. If you remember, Najee Harris was with the Steelers. He got signed by the Chargers because he says, man, this Pittsburgh Steelers offense is janky. Okay, it is bad. I don't know what this offense is. It's a dude that used to be the head coach of the Falcons running it. If that tells you anything, it's rough. Okay, that's what it tells you. It's rough. That's why people are not. That's why Rodgers is not signing with the Steelers. He's like, how much do you gonna pay me? I don't want to be in this offense. This is gross. But the Cleveland Browns and Steelers are like, well, if you take our running back, we'll take J.K. Dobbins. Okay. Great. But the Cleveland Browns are trying to look at some other. They're like J.K. Dobbins. Maybe. But you know who better? Not J.K. Dobbins. And edge rusher Myles Garrett is trying to recruit running back Nick Chubb to return to the Browns. Nick Chubb was pretty good for the Browns. He helped them get to the playoffs and stuff. That'd be a good move. But Myles Garrett is like, don't worry about it. Get J.K. Dobbins. Boop. He can go to the Steelers and pick up 3 yards of carry. We need Nick Chubb, who will pick up 6 yards of carry. I made that up. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay. Also, the Chicago Bears are interested in Chubb. They need a running back. They're going to rebuild offensive line. They got Caleb as a quarterback. They got some receivers. They got a lot of pieces on offense. They're short a running back. That could be a good move for Nick Chubb. You know, if I was Nick Chubb, I would blow off Myles Garrett, and I would go to the Chicago Bears, because at least you don't know what's happening there. You know what's happening with the Browns. It's going to be a mess. It's always a mess with the Browns, okay? But if you go to the Bears, it might be slightly less of a mess. Slightly less of a mess, okay? The New York Jets, Buffalo Bills, and New England Patriots are all favorites. Obviously, the whole AFC East, other than Miami, are favorites to add wide receiver Stephon Diggs. If you remember, Stephon Diggs was a Buffalo Bill. He got angry about some things. Blah, 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 blah. He said, I'm out. I'm going to the Houston Texans. Went to Houston, had a pretty good year. But then the Texans are like, you're kind of old, bro. We don't really need you. We're going to like a youth movement and stuff, okay? He went and visited the Patriots. Stephon Diggs did, and they was like, well, I'm not going to sign a contract. I'm not going to. He's going to try and do an Aaron Rodgers thing where he sits there and tries to build up leverage that doesn't exist and try to get paid more. I bet he goes back to the Buffalo Bills. He knows that the Buffalo Bills were not a bad situation. They're probably the best team in the AFC East this year and the next 2 or 3 years because of Josh Allen and a good defense. Okay, so he's going to go back there and try to win a Super Bowl. He's never won a Super Bowl. I mean, he spent most of the time with the Buffalo Bills. They never won a Super Bowl, and the Houston Texans didn't do it either. So I understand his frustration. Okay, all right, Cleveland Browns. Quarterback Deshaun Watson, not called the anchor, although you could call him the anchor. He's going to cost him like $31 million in the salary cap and not be able to play because it's torn Achilles tendon. This is the second time in his career he's torn Achilles tendon. Next, he said, I'm determined to make a comeback. I'm going to come back. Maybe not with the Browns. Hopefully not with the Browns. Please don't make me play for the Browns again. That's what he's saying on the inside. On the inside, he's saying, please don't make me play for the Browns. Anyone else? Trade me. You can trade. No one's going to trade for that horrible contract. They blew up the NFL's quarterback market, really making life rough for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson wanted Deshaun Watson money. But he actually deserves the money. Well, Deshaun Watson just does creepy stuff. Ew. Okay, next, UFL business. It's been a quiet day in the UFL. I went through my UFL power rankings yesterday. I'm going to get ready for game week this week. We're going to start a different series of shorts presenting the UFL teams and my outlook on them. Okay, but here's some UFL news. I mentioned yesterday that the head coach of the DC Defenders was a candidate to go to Tennessee State. Well, he accepted that job. Boom, he's left the DC Defenders. 1 week before the first game, okay? What's trending can't be in the UFL? Nothing. Your head coach is gone. Who cares? Okay? Reggie Barlow accepted the head coach position with the Tennessee State University, the Tigers. Okay? 1 week before the season starts. So the debate was yesterday is if he leaves, who's going to fill the head coaching role? And the official answer for DC Defenders is, I don't know. So they have named quarterback coach Shannon Harris, the interim head coach. He's been with the DC Defenders the last 2 years, and he's offensive coordinator at Virginia State. I think Greg Williams doesn't want that job. I mentioned Greg Williams' track record. He didn't do well as the head coach with the Buffalo Bills, and he didn't do good as the head coach of Washington Redskins / Commanders. Here's the thing. In the coaching world, some coaches make really good head coaches, and some coaches make really good coordinators. And Greg Williams, a great defensive coordinator. I look up to Greg Williams. Okay, I look up to that guy. He's amazing at building a defense. Not a good head coach. Very similar to me. I feel like I can really build a good offense or build a good defense or build good special teams as a coordinator, but as a head coach, that's not the guy. I had to learn it the hard way. And I think Greg Williams learned it the hard way. And he's like, I'm just not the guy for that. So let's get someone else in here. Which is probably a good call for his reputation and the rest of the DC Defenders. All right, next. CFL, the 3-Down Nation put out an interesting thought. The CFLPA had announced like 3 days into free agency in the CFL that the salary cap was going to be expanded $412,000, $365,000. That's like one contract per quarterback, in the CFL. It's a lot of money in the CFL. It could be 10 other players, 10 minimum players. But a lot of the GMs in the league were like, wait, you didn't announce this before free agency starts. The timing's weird. Also, why are we getting a bump in our salary cap? That usually comes with like new TV contracts. The CFL doesn't even have a commissioner right now because Randy Ambrosi stepped down. So they're looking at this situation like, bro, this is a setup. You're going to want us to, use that money, and they're going to make us pay penalties. What kind of penalties? Or like the BC Lions last year, the CFL has a soft salary cap, okay? So you can go over the salary cap legally. And the only punishment you get, like for the BC Lions, they gave another pick to the Calgary Stampeders in the CFL draft, which isn't all that, For example, the Argonauts, 2 times they won the Grey Cup 3 years ago. They had broke the salary cap, won the Grey Cup, didn't lose the Grey Cup, didn't get it taken away from them, just had to get penalized, okay? So it's almost worth it to go over the salary cap, honestly. But every CFL GM has a different look at this situation, okay? So the salary cap has gone up. Every team had a different opinion. So the BC Lions said, yes, we have more money. We're going to spend more money. We don't care about the salary cap anyway. That's why we had to give the Calgary Stampeders another pick. We already went over the salary cap. We don't care about the salary cap. We just want to try and win a championship. Okay? Edmonton Elks. They usually don't have a good plan. They said, no, we're going to stick to the original plan. We think this is going to get rolled back, and we can't afford to get penalized. And they can't. They're horrible. Calgary Stampeders said, no. They're going to stick to their plan they had at the start of free agency before the salary cap was increased, because for the same reason, they're afraid it's going to get rolled back and they'll get penalized. They don't want to get penalized after getting a free pick from the BC Lions getting penalized. Saskatchewan Roughriders, yes, they plan to use the maximum amount of the salary cap. It may take them a minute. They don't have initial plans, but they're going to use it because they want to win that Grey Cup. And they want their fans to know they want to win a Grey Cup. They're like the Dallas Cowboys of the CFL. Not because they haven't won a Super Bowl since the 90s, Grey Cup since the 90s. That's the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They haven't won since 1999. Everyone has won the Grey Cup since the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Many of them have won multiple Grey Cups since the Hamilton Tiger Cats won one. So they're in the worst situation. Winnipeg Blue Bombers said, no, we're sticking to the original plan. They're the only ones that came out first thing going, nope, we're not going to do that because that's dumb business. It's going to get rolled back. We're all going to look silly. Hamilton Tiger Cats said maybe. Their GM, Ted Gavea, says, I've been scouting. I haven't been paying attention to the CFLPA and the news and stuff. I've just been trying to build the best team we can because he's got a serious job to do to rebuild the Hamilton Tiger Cats. DraftKings has them as the worst team in the CFL. They do have an awesome offense, though, and they've added a lot of pieces from Winnipeg. But he said, maybe in the future we'll think about ways to spend that money. Of course, we'd like to have the best team possible. Is spending money going against that? Maybe. We don't know. So we're not going to make a move until we know. The Toronto Argonauts, they have set our original plans in place. We already made a budget for the year, and it doesn't involve an extra $412,000. We're not desperate. The MLS SE owns them. They make all their money off the MLS, not off the CFL. They're like, why do we need to keep adding parts? We won 2 Grey Cups in the last 3 years. Why do we need to add more parts and spend more money? We don't. They're awesome because they have good scouts. Okay, the Ottawa Red Blacks, they had to give the most confusing answer. They said, we're sticking to the original plan, but we're not really 100% sure why. We could do for some more players, but we're not going to do that because we're super paranoid. The Ottawa Red Blacks are super paranoid. That's why they're not going to do it, okay? And the Montreal Alouettes said, no, we're sticking to the original plan because last time we won a Grey Cup 2 years ago, we had the lowest salary level in the CFL. We're not going to buy a championship. We're going to use our players and coach these people, which is part of the most healthy outlook. I wish the Tiger Cats would have that outlook. Hey, we're not going to try and buy a championship, which never goes their way. We're just going to coach our way. We're going to be awesome coaches. As a coach, I really respect that from Montreal, okay? So that's just an interesting side piece there. Also, the CFL, they're in the Combine right now. I saw 2 players got hurt at the Combine. That's sad for them. But not necessarily going to hurt their career, you know? We'll see what happens. But while the CFL Combine is going on, they're doing CFL League meetings since everyone's in town in Regina, Saskatchewan. So they're looking at rule changes. So here's some recommendations for rule changes, and they're voting on these. These are not set in stone. These have not been changed, but these are things they're thinking about first. So first, last year, if you remember, they were thinking about changing the kickoff. They didn't know what to do, so they decided not to do it. But they did one thing with the kickoff. Okay, on the kickoff, if you block anyone below the waist, which is janky in the first place, open blocking in the field below the waist is dirty. You're thrown out of the game. Boop. So if you block him below the waist in the kickoff, the kicking play, punt, or punt return or kick return, boop, you're gone, bro. That's probably a good rule. It's good safety for everyone. Okay. Another one. A defender. This is a recommendation, not past it. A defender cannot hit a receiver below the knees. Okay. So if you catch the ball in space, they can't slide in and hit you below your knees, which could break your ankle or your shin bone or mess your knee up. They're trying to take care of their players. I respect that, okay? Good job, CFL. Also, if you have any blow to the head, intentional or otherwise, to a ball carrier, you're thrown out of the game. Boom. So their targeting rule, the targeting rule is now in the CFL. You're thrown out of the game. Now you can, in case you didn't know, you can challenge all penalties in the CFL. You can challenge plays and penalties, which is a good rule. So if you get targeting, or you punch someone in the head accidentally, or you smack them in the head, you're going to get thrown out. Boop. But your coach can challenge that and see if they can get you back in the game, I guess. So that's the deal there. Sounds like they're watching out for their players, which is good. NFL should watch out for the players sometimes. I have an interesting side bit about the UFL. I'm going to say it now. So I was watching Ballers on Netflix, and what's odd there, The Rock's in that, and he played what ended up becoming the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the last few episodes were about him telling the NFL we need to take care of our players and get them health care if they have more than 3 years in the league, get them lifetime health care. Okay. What's interesting about that is one of the reasons the UFL players, the UFL is owned by The Rock and Danny Garcia, his ex-wife, is that they want better health care. So it's just really ironic that in the show, he was arguing for better health care. Otherwise, he was telling the NFL players to strike in the show, Ballers, okay, on Netflix. But in real life, the UFL players saying, we're going to strike if we don't get health care and a pay bump. And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, bros. That's Daryl Johnson's job. I'm busy wrestling. And it's just weird, you know, how the karma has changed here. In TV, he was fighting for players, but then in real life, he's fighting for management. It's just odd. I just watched it. I said, that's really weird. Oh, well, thanks for enjoying this episode of Football Scientific. If you liked it, subscribe and like the video. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Boom. Check out UFL News Hub for articles about the UFL, CFL News Hub about the CFL. And then we'll be back tomorrow to go to my IFL, NAL predictions, see how that went. It went bad. It went bad. It was so bad. I had a bad start to the season. I need to change my algorithm and study some more film. I take this like a coach does, and if I lose, I don't cry about it like I just did. I say, okay, how can we get better? Let's watch some films to get better. I need to do that in the IFL and the NAL ASAP before next week, okay? All right, so there we go. Enjoy the rest of your evening or day, whatever time you're watching this. I am Timmy. I did not have a lot to say today, but that's okay. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow.